Another one.
So this one says, is it common to be laid off after automating tests for a legacy product? Am I automating myself out of a job? I'm automating end-to-end tests for a legacy product that will likely not have new features added to it in the future. I'm the only QA person working on this product. Is it likely that I could be laid off after I automate all the tests for practically all the existing features? It makes sense that I would need to maintain and run the tests, but is that sufficient workload for an SDET or automation engineer? Am I automating myself out of a job? This is the only automation role I have had. I built it and organized all the end-to-end tests with Playwright, another Playwright. No wonder good guy is very present today, right? Practically on my own. The product I'm testing is rather complex, and I am one of the few people who have legacy knowledge. That makes me feel safe in my role, but at the same time, I have created a lot of documentation for others to learn. Oh, okay, they have an update. Just to add, my job is not a contract. I'm salaried and I've been at this place for 4 years. I'm looking forward to talking to my boss, asking him about my role. All right, so good question. Good question. All right, so let's start our clock. So here's the deal. It's not the work that you do that's going to get you out of a job. It's how you do the work, what kind of employee you are you easy to work with? And then there's always like, all right, that's like, you're not, layoffs happen when companies need to cut staff, right? So you could have not automated this legacy product and you could still get laid off, right? It just depends. But that's not going to be the reason that you get laid off because, you automated this legacy product. The question I have for you is, while automating this legacy product, why aren't you also looking to get into other things? One of my biggest problems, one of my pet peeves is that people always limit themselves to a particular, this is my job right here and that's what I'm going to stick to and I'm not going to do anything else, right? I'm always looking for opportunities to go outside of my job as well. So I can interact with more people. I can do more stuff. I can see what else is going on. I can add more value. I always tell you that your number one goal is to be able to add value to your stakeholders who are your customers, right? The clients of the company, your C-suites, your managers, your developers, your scrum master, your product owner, always looking to add value, always looking to offer insight. I have absolutely no problem writing stories. I have no problem running a stand-up or a planning or a retrospective or whatever the case may be, right? Remember one time my scrum master couldn't make it to a retro. She's like, hey, would it be okay with you if you do this retro for me? I'm like, of course, not a problem at all. Just because you work on this particular legacy product doesn't mean that your whole job has to be legacy, right? You need to find ways to plug in. You need to say, hey, what is this other team doing? Hey, can I sit in on this? Can I find out more? You don't have to be limited to just that little part that you're doing, right? So that's my advice to everyone. Whether you're a software engineer, whether you are a DevOps, whether you are in cybersecurity, right? Whatever it is, you need to go and plug in. Like I was telling Mitch earlier, right? Make sure you go to the sprint reviews to see what is it that they're working on, right? So that you can be able to ask questions, you can be able to give feedback. You have to work together, right? I'm not saying you have to do everybody else's job, but knowing what they're doing, knowing where you can contribute, your number one priority is always to get your job done first, right? But when you have now, once you're done with that, how else can you fit in? How else can you plug in? How else can you add value? Right? Always looking to add value. I think I see money in the chat. So let's go to the chat. Let's go with this, right? So all right. So Mitch says, on the other side of that, most people won't do it because they most likely will not get paid for extra. Not saying it's right or wrong. Hey, that's them, right? But when the time for layoffs come, guess what? What happens when you get laid off? Hmm? What happens when you get laid off? You're also not getting paid for extra. See, me, I'm a technologist, right? Like I love to explore. I mean, on Sundays, I spend about 2 to 3 hours working on Terraform. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, I'm writing code in Flutter. On Thursday nights, I'm doing automation and stuff like that. Right? It's people don't understand what getting paid means. Right? Like I really don't think people understand what it means to get paid. And I think that's the biggest problem, right? I get paid in so many different ways. So along with the paycheck that I get from my company, the value that I get from being able to learn from the developers that I work with, the way that they think, the way that like the way that the way that they think, the way that they write code, right? Like it's like wow, like this is very very cool. And then I get to participate in that, and I get to contribute to give ideas and stuff like that. You know that like knowledge, experience, you know, all that is a form of payment. So when we go back to the first question, it's like, oh, um, never never do an unpaid internship, and it's like, okay, cool, but that person who does take that unpaid internship and the connections that they make. So let's say a person takes an unpaid internship, right? Or let's say they go outside of their wheelhouse to get some more exposure, some more experience, right? That intern, how many LinkedIn, like let's say let's say it's a company of like 500 people, right? And they're able to add 100 of those people to their LinkedIn, right? And they get to interact and communicate with those people, right? So now they can get recommendations, they can possibly get hired full time, all of that. You are going outside your wheelhouse, so you're showing that you want to learn, you want to do this, you want to do that. So then now they say, oh yeah, like why let's like, oh, hey Rob, do you want to do this? Like we see you have interest in that. Oh yeah, sure. Like I volunteer to do Terraform sometimes at work, right? So well, a lot of times people think it's only like they're only thinking with cash. Um, they're not investing in themselves, right? Um, and you know that's a short sightedness, right? It's like people who like, and I used to be like this when I was a lot younger, right? I'm like 401k. Why am I thinking about 40, 50 years? Maybe not 50, but why am I thinking about 30 years down the road? When I'm worried about right now, you know, a lot of people they're worried about right now and they end up missing out. And it's just, you know, and that's why I'm always trying to, you know, get the mindset of the younger, because, you know, at our age, we're like, there's no hope for us, right? But I'm trying to get the younger people like, hey, you need to start working now. You need to start like learning how to code. You need to start learning how to use these tools, like learning how to like how to be part of like a sprint and what Scrum is and all that type of stuff, so that by the time like you go to college and like, you're out of college, you are so far ahead of the other people. Because I'll tell you this, most of the people who I interview coming out of college, they don't really know anything about quality assurance, right? They like all pretty much all companies are hiring for QA. They will they will they'll say like they want a computer science degree and everything like that, but they don't teach you anything about QA in computer science. So imagine now you're graduating high school, or you're in high school, or you're in college, and although you're doing computer science, you also take a quality assurance course, and now you know how it works. You know how to do automation and everything like that. So now when you apply for an internship, you're the top dog, right? You get that, and now when you graduate, you have experience in QA, and you know how QA works because you took the initiative to do it, and you're like, now instead of hoping to get a QA specialist type role, you might be able to get a QA engineer 2 role because you built your own experience, right? So the not like Mitch said, right? The knowledge, the skills, the network that you build from just going above and beyond and getting paid in more than cash, getting paid in that experience, you know? So just throwing that out there. Great point, right? All right. Thank you so much. Let's wrap this question up with a nice bow on top.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.